This is iUniverse Radio. iUniverse Radio is brought to you by iUniverse, the leading book marketing, editorial services, and supported self-publishing company. iUniverse Radio is produced by TogiNet Radio, on the web at toginet.com.
The title of the book, Skip Tracing Basics and Beyond, a complete step-by-step guide for locating hidden assets, second edition, and the author is Susan Nash, and Susan joins us now on iUniverse Radio. Hello, Susan.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Great to have you on the show. This is really an area that probably most people don't know about. We see a lot in the news about identity theft and fraud, especially in this high-tech world. And you say skip tracing is the art of finding information about someone who does not want to be found. This book turns you into a power searcher. So you've been at this for some time, and you've become quite an expert, because there's a lot of folks out there that can steal your identity, and you could turn your life upside down forever, right?
Absolutely, and that is a very scary thought, Steve. Think that somebody could steal your identity and you have to spend the rest of your life proving who you are.
Well, that is, and I think we're hearing about it more and more. We hear a lot in the news about, people from other nations, even China, who are trying to break into our technology and discover secrets of the government. And also there's people all the time that are stealing people's identity. So tell us a little bit more. Give us the bottom line on skip tracing. Define that a little bit more.
Well, skip tracing is the art of finding information, and it's not a science. There's no black and white. There's all sorts of areas of gray. And if you think about the ramifications of what's going on to us in cyberspace right now as we speak, and has been happening all week, is that they're basically skip tracing for our assets. And they're doing that by trying to hack into the corporations' computers and websites. And it's a very scary thought, because these are types of criminals. Now, this current gang that's out there right now that's attacking not only us, but of course other countries all over the world. Some countries have already taken major steps to protect themselves from it, but these apparently are functioning out of a military facility located in China. Now, the Chinese government says, no, we're not doing it. And maybe they are not. As a government, maybe people that are employed by them, like government employees, that are actually doing it and playing for a race against time, and it's actually just a challenge for them. It's how to solve the puzzle. So it's very hard for us to be able to actually crack that, because you have a catch-22 situation there.
Well, your book is packed with case studies, illustrations, exhibits, examples, tables, websites. I mean, it's loaded. It's a how-to to become, I guess, an expert in this field, to help people to really understand how they can, with little or no investigative experience, to prepare and analyze this kind of information. Why don't you give us an example so we better understand what this is all about?
Well, in the book I take you through a step-by-step procedure, or a basic mold that you could use for anything that you're searching for, whether it's a skip or whether it's an asset or anything even in life, is that you need a goal, and you have to have a strategy in order to get to that goal. And my book helps you plan your strategy for your particular skip. And I give you step-by-step procedures for you to follow that you can actually do them at your office or wherever you will do them, and your own research. I give you all different websites to go to where you can file electronically and research information electronically, most of which is free because of the Freedom of Information Act. So it's actually a little bit of a be your own detective, and for the detectives, it raises the bar for them. So everybody's very happy with it so far, and I'm very excited about it.
Now we have a couple of chapters here. You say nabbing debtor skips. What do you mean? What's a debtor skip?
Well, a debtor skip is, there's different kinds of skips, believe it or not. There's an intentional skip, there's a hardcore skip, and there's the hardcore fraud skip. So some people are skips by accident because they didn't know they owed the money, or they accidentally moved and they didn't leave a forwarding address. And then there are intentional skips, people that, let's say, they get into hard times or they break a leg and they can't work and they're intentionally hiding and they don't want to be found. And then there's the hardcore intentional scammer type skip, which are people that are outright criminals that are preying on innocent victims. And there's different ways to catch those people. Of course, the person who forgot that they owed a bill or forgot to put in a change of address is not the same type of person as the criminal who is looking to steal your identity and scam you out of your life savings, for example. So the way to approach each one would be different ways. There would be different lines or different strategies to get to each one.
You say that every chapter of this book mentions skip tracing secrets that have been put to a practical test by thousands of skip tracers nationwide, so these are proven.
Yes, absolutely. There are some methods that are tried and true. For example, public records is one example of those secrets. And it's not enough to know that public records are the secrets, but the real secret is learning how to search within the public records very rapidly. And that's what I give a little bit more of how to become a power searcher within the public records. So let's say that you're looking for somebody who is a government employee, and you know that they work for the city of New York or the city of Los Angeles. You may be able to access government records where they would be found in a certain format. And I can teach you how to find that with a command where it would take you hours and hours of intensive reading to go through all of the information. So those are the types of secrets that I give in every chapter in the book.
Well, you've had some interesting reviews, one by a person with publisher PI magazine. He says, Jimmy, is it Mises?
Yes, it is.
I know the private investigator business, and this is an amazingly valuable resource for seasoned investigators and any person considering a career as a private investigator and those who seek advice on how to do it themselves. So you seem to cover all levels.
Yes, I try to cover every area as thoroughly as possible for every different part of the industry, because while they are the publisher of, or Jimmy is the editor and publisher of the Private Investigator magazine, and I will be speaking at their super conference this summer, June 21st, if anybody would like to come and hear. I give specific secrets that are better for that industry than would be, for example, for the general public, or the collection industry, for example, would be different secrets. They would go to different websites and have access to different types of information, and be looking for different type of information and have different goals with the information. So I try to tailor the classes and the presentations to each industry so that they are industry specific.
We use credit information so liberally today on the internet, and we, give out our credit cards to waiters and waitresses, and a lot of people see our private information. There's online that situations that ask for our Social Security number. How liable not liable, how open are we to this kind of information to be stolen?
Well, unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that the criminals will always be criminals, and they're not going to go away. So it's in our best interest to keep on top of it, and we do our best to try to keep on top of it. Unfortunately, these criminal types don't usually go after individuals like you and I. They go after a massive hunt, like they will attack one of our corporations, and they will get into that information and try to steal all of it. How vulnerable are we? I think that we're on top of it, and I think that although it happens, as soon as it happens, it gets caught pretty much almost instantaneously, and they do everything that they can to cure it. In many cases, I've seen some of the major institutions, like some of the banks, have to cancel all of the MasterCards that were used that day in that retailer, for example. So you'll get a notice saying your card has to be changed because it was breached. So they do their best to stay on top of it, and they're always catching the criminal thieves. They're constantly catching the identity thief rings, and I think that eventually they'll get the bad boys the way they did Osama bin Laden, and we may be able to get some peace. At least I hope we will.
A lot of databases in your book.
Yes, and those are some of the secrets that I give away, but it's not so much that I'm giving away the database, it's the way to use the database. A lot of people will know, there's a website called Facebook, but obviously everybody knows Facebook. A lot of people aren't on Facebook. A lot of people don't know how to search in Facebook. Facebook has just introduced a brand new graph search, which is super cool because you can limit your search. So it's actually gone into the search business, and it's how do you search in Facebook without wasting your time, especially for people that don't use Facebook. So I try to give away a lot of great secrets.
So obviously skips can be criminals, but they can also be innocent people who don't even know they're classified as skips, because skips can even be dead people.
Absolutely, and skips often are dead people, believe it or not. I've seen estate matters where the estate or the beneficiary or the trustees for the estate were actually debtors because they didn't pay what was written in the will. So there's all different kinds of skips. There's corporate skips. There's corporations that function that way. They set up a corporation intentionally set up for failure so that you won't be able to go after them. So there's so many different kinds of skips that you first have to, I think, determine what type of skip do you have, and then you always have to try to step into the shoes of the skip, or as I like to think of it, think of who they are and how they would feel and think in order to get into the mindset of the skip, whether it's a corporation or an individual.
So your purpose is to help everyone to learn to work smart and not hard.
That's exactly correct. And one of my favorite teaching secrets is that I like the databases to work for me so that I don't have to work for the databases. And what I mean by that is I like to be able to understand how to search efficiently in the database, whatever database it is, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or whether it's a corporate website.
Another reviewer said a must-have tool for every legal library. So it sounds like you're being recognized by some of the best.
Yes, I am. Fortunately, I have gotten some really great recognition, and I'm very grateful to the DBA, the Debt Buyers Association, who loves my book and has endorsed it, and also to NARCA, which is the National Association of Retail Collection Attorneys. They also have endorsed it for me, and I'm very proud to be of service to those associations.
We've been listening to Susan Nash. She is the author of her book, Skip Tracing Basics and Beyond, a complete step-by-step guide for locating hidden assets, second edition. Susan, tell us how to get your book.
Well, you can get my book at iUniverse, at Amazon, at Barnes & Nobles, on the Kindle, on the Nookie, and on Audible, or at your favorite online retailer.
Thank you so much, Susan, for being with us on iUniverse Radio.
Thank you, Steve, for having me.